Today we're going to be looking at a pretty popular bootleg Plants vs. Zombies plush set. So with that said, welcome to a look at the Head Zombie Plants vs. Zombies plush set. Now let's start off with the first plush in the set being the Peashooter. Now this Peashooter plush overall looks very similar to Lynx's Peashooter plush, except that the leaf base is actually a bit different. And while the shape of the leaf base is basically exactly the same, the only really thing that they changed is that for some reason there's these huge dimples in the leaf base. But besides having those huge dimples in the leaf base is basically the exact same as the Lynxen variant. As well, the stem is about the exact same and could get understuffed very easily over the years because a lot of the times the stem are very skinny and they're very long. And while the Peashooter's head is overall really nicely stuffed and it basically looks the exact same as the Lynxen Peashooter. Because as you can tell, the stitching on the eyes are basically the exact same, the shape of the head's the exact same, and basically everything about this plush is just the exact clone of the Lynxen Peashooter. And while the strings used on these plushes are actually a little lower quality than the original Lynxen variant, so that's another way that you could tell if it's a bootleg. But yeah, overall, if you want this plush, you can look on eBay or Mercari, but it's actually pretty rare nowadays, but there is actually one on eBay right now for around $30. And now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the Sunflower. Now the Sunflower's leaf base is basically the exact same as the Peashooter's leaf base, and same thing with the stem. As well, just like the Peashooter, the stem on the Sunflower could get easily understuffed over the years and get damaged. And while the Sunflower's face is actually slightly different than the original Lynxen Sunflower's face, is that, well, you'll tell that the eyes are actually facing different directions. Which overall makes this plush look a bit strange, as well the eyes obviously aren't supposed to be like that, and it actually makes the Sunflower look really weird. And well, for the rest of the face, the mouth is nicely embroidered on, and the petals are basically made out of the exact same material as the Lynxen one. But yeah, the only really weird thing about this plush is that for some reason the eyes are just facing opposite directions, which makes them just look really weird. Because usually Sunflower plushes are either both facing to the left or both facing to the right, so it looks pretty weird for them to be kind of like cross-eyed. But yeah, if you want this plush, you can look on eBay or Mercari, but once again, it's pretty hard to find, but there has been a few on eBay and Mercari recently that have sold. And now let's go on to the next plush in the set, which is the Walnut. Now there isn't really much to say about the Walnut plushes, as it's basically an exact copy of the Lynxen one. Because well, the embroidery on the face is basically exact to how Lynxen's look, because basically it uses the exact same pattern. And well, the walnut shape is also the exact same and has a weird crease line in the middle just like the Lynxen version, so yeah, it's overall basically an exact copy of it. One weird thing I noticed about these Walnut plushes though is that for some reason sometimes like the eyes are sometimes like out of the embroidery. So sometimes you'll see little white outlines around the eyes which obviously aren't supposed to be there and seem to just be an error by the stitching. But yeah, overall this Walnut plush looks pretty good, but that's just because it's the exact copy of the Lynxen variant, and if you want, this plush is actually extremely rare and I could only find a few images of it. And now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the Squash. Now the Squash's face is the exact same as the Lynxen variant, and well, but basically uses the exact same pattern for the face. One really weird thing about the Squash plush though is that you can see that creased around the body to try to make it look more 3D looking, but it ends up making it look really weird. And so Lynxen did a good job making it so it has a little extra 3D look, but I think this bootleg company just did it way too much and well, but overall made it look really weird looking. So I think it would have been better if they just didn't do all that, because well, I think the Squash would have looked better if it just didn't have any 3D look to it at all, because well, they ended up doing it really badly. But yeah, besides that, the stem on the Squash plush basically is the exact same as Lynxen's, and well, same thing with the face. So yeah, besides the really weird 3D effect that they tried to go for, the rest of the plush overall looks pretty good. And well, if you want this plush just like the Walnut, it's basically impossible to get, because well, I was only able to find like 3 images of it, and I don't know if it's ever been on eBay. And now let's go on to the next plush in the set, being the Jalapeno. Now one thing that you'll notice about this Jalapeno plush is that it basically looks the exact same to the modern bootleg Jalapeno, and that's probably because the modern bootleg was based off of this one. So it was extremely hard to find the original Head Zombie set Jalapeno plush because well, basically every single bootleg Jalapeno looks exactly like this one. But yeah, the Jalapeno shape itself overall looks pretty good, but the thing that ruins it is obviously the face. And so I honestly don't know how they messed it up this bad because well, it's pretty simplistic. The only thing that they really messed up on though is that the mouth is just way weirder looking and the eyes are way too skinny. Because well, for some reason the outlines on the eyes are overall very skinny, and while the pupils inside of the eyes are overall very small, so yeah, it seems that they messed up a few details and made the face look horrible. But yeah, besides the extremely weird looking face on the jalapeno, the rest of the plush is overall pretty good and well, it's basically the exact same as Linkson's. But yeah, if you want this plush, you probably won't be able to find it easily because, well, there's a ton of modern bootleg jalapenos that basically look exactly like this one, so it'll be pretty hard to find the original. And now let's go on to the next plush set, being the Kernel Plush. Now this Kernel Plush is obviously based off of the textureless Kernel Plush made by Linkson, well, but overall looks pretty good. They did a nice job embroidering on the face as well, but basically looks exactly like the original Linkson version. The only thing that they really messed up on is the leaves. As well, for some reason there's really large gaps around the leaves, so yeah, it seems that the Kernel Plush wasn't actually fully complete, and it kinda looks similar to the limited edition Kernel Plush. But yeah, I think it would have looked better if they put some green in between the leaves instead of just having the normal Kernel Plush, as it makes it look a lot weirder looking. Also the leaves on the Kernel Plush could get damaged because, well, just like other companies, they're only glued on, well, since this plush is getting pretty old, it could wear off. So yeah, if you do get this plush, I recommend being careful with the leaves as well. The glue could easily come off as well, but it's been dried over the years because this plush is over 10 years old. But yeah, just like other plushes, it says overall very hard to find. I was only able to find a few images of it. So yeah, if you want this plush, you could look on eBay and Mercari, but you probably won't be able to find it easily. And I also went to the next plush set, being the Apple Bomb. Now the leaf base, once again, just like the Peashooter and Sunflower, have some pretty big dimples in them, and well, just like the others, the stem on this plush could get easily understuffed. And well, just like the jalapeno, the one thing that kind of ruins this plush is that the face overall looks really weird. Because unlike the jalapeno, I actually think they made the embroidery on the eyes just a little too thick. Because as you can tell, the outside of the eyes on the small eye actually kind of combine with the pupil on the eye, so it overall makes the plush look really weird looking. I also think that they made the head shape just slightly too small and the embroidery just slightly too big, so yeah, it overall makes the face looking pretty weird again. But yeah, besides the weird embroidery, the rest of the plush overall looks pretty good, except the stem could get damaged over the years. And but once again, just like the jalapeno, there's a lot of other bootleg apple bombs that look basically exactly like this one, so it'll be pretty hard to find the original, but you could look on eBay or Mercari. And now moving on to the zombie plushes, starting off with the basic zombie. Now this plush overall looks pretty similar to the original Linkson variant, except the face is actually a bit different. And well, the main reason for that is some of the embroidery is just slightly skinnier and also slightly thicker than the original Linkson variant, so they couldn't get it to exactly look right, but they overall did a pretty good job with it. And well, I'm actually kind of glad that they didn't exactly copy Linkson's variant, because well, it actually makes the zombie look a bit more unique, having a different face than the original Linkson version. But yeah, the head on this plush overall has all the correct embroidery on it, and it overall looks pretty good, and the head's overall really nicely stuffed. And well, the clothes on this plush basically look the exact same as the other Linkson variant, except this one actually has a slightly darker shirt. As well, on the Linkson plush is actually like a brownish color, while on this one it's a bit of a dark brown color. And well, the shorts on the zombie is the exact same, and the shoes are actually a bit darker than the original Linkson version. It has the embroidery on the hands to make it look like fingers. But yeah, overall, I think they did a pretty good job with this plush as well. There's basically no details that are inaccurate about it, besides a few details on the face looking a little weird. But yeah, overall, the zombie plush looks pretty good. Well, if you want it, you could look on eBay and Mercari, and there's been a few for sale recently. And now let's move on to the next plush set, being the hypnotized zombie. Now this hypnotized zombie, it doesn't really have a lot to say about it, because well, it's the exact same as the normal basic zombie, except it's just purple. The hypnotized zombie actually came up with the name for the set as well, a popular YouTuber used it in a series and called it Head Zombie, so that's how we kind of got the set name. But yeah, once again, the face on this plush is the exact same as the normal basic zombie, except all the details on it are just purple instead of gray. And well, the only other really thing they changed about this plush is that they made the coat purple on it instead of being a brown color. But yeah, besides that, this plush uses all the exact same details as the normal basic zombie, except they just changed the color of it. But yeah, this plush is by far the most wanted in the set as well, but literally came out with a set name, so yeah, if you want this plush, you can look on eBay and Mercari, but usually it sells for upwards of like $50. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please like and subscribe and comment down below which plush in the set is your favorites, and yeah, have a great day.